The school year is upon us once again, and as a mom of a bunch of kids diagnosed with ADHD, which we prefer to call special energy, I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, I'm saying yes, I made it. The summer's finally over. I'll get a couple of days of quiet in this house, and maybe it'll stay clean all the way from the morning until they come home from school. On the other hand, there's a lot of trepidation. I am nervous because my kids just had an amazing summer. They were vibrant, happy, and creative. And now they're about to head right back into a situation where they just don't thrive. A school building does not bring out the best in our ADHD kids. So over the years, I've had to develop a bunch of different methods to help my children begin the school year in a calm and effective way. Much of it I've written down in chapter 9 of my book, Hyperhealing. Check it out. I would like to review a bunch of these methods with you, and hopefully when your child goes back to school this year, you will feel a lot calmer and you'll be setting your child up for success. Number 1, let's look at how we can set up our home environment to support this successful transition. First of all, you do want to have a lot of school supplies at home. Make sure that you have a drawer full of as many extra backup school supplies as possible. And what you want to ask your child to do is anytime something's missing from the pencil case, reward that child for coming home and saying, "Mom, I need another eraser, I need another sharpener, my pencils are all out." Now, this is a very frustrating thing for parents because we can't understand how our children lose all the contents of their pencil case just about every day. Somehow they manage to leave the pencil case open and turn it over in their backpack. I don't know what's going on with them. So we get very frustrated with our children and we raise our voices at them and we punish them for losing their things. I want to reverse this with our kids. I want to reward them when they come home and say that they need something more for their pencil case and say, "That was super responsible. Well done. You noticed you were missing something and you went ahead and you got it." The second thing we want to do for our kids before the school year begins is ask the school if they can give us second copies of all of the books that our children are going to need. We don't want these books traveling back and forth in your kids' backpacks. You know what our kids' backpacks look like. Either they've shoved in everything and they're carrying their desk and everything included on their backs every single day, not sustainable, or they have everything emptied out and they're never bringing home their school books. But either way, when they need to sit down and do homework, how many of your children are prepared with the right textbook and the right notebook to do that homework? Are we batting a 0 here? Well, that's been my experience. So let's get that second set of books home and ready for the school year. Next, let's get into the classroom. I want to bring each of my children to their classroom so they get to see it before the school year begins. I want them to look around and become comfortable with it so that they could perhaps choose along with the teacher the best seat for them that year. Not only that, I'd like to bring one of those plastic office boxes to the classroom so that my child could keep their school supplies and notebooks right next to their desk. Because as we know, when our children get up to get their books from their cubby, they land up in trouble. They land up touching something, knocking something off someone's desk, getting into a fight. So let's have less of that moving around for books and more keeping their books in their place. Now, I'd like to suggest one amazing suggestion that really works well for these kids. What we want to do is ask the teacher to have our child take out all books and notebooks from that box on Friday and take a picture of it so that we can check at home that our child still has all of his or her belongings. And then the child gets a Friday treat every week. If you remain consistent, your child will not lose notebooks and textbooks. So stick with that and do a great job. The next worry we have is that our children are not going to follow the classroom rules. Now, why is that? We have instant gratification kids. Our kids like to test their limits, to see where the teacher is going to push back. They want to make sure that a rule is really a rule, and good for them. Now, what we have to do is communicate with the teacher and request from the teacher 2 things. Now, let's remember that the teacher is our ally, not our enemy. And when we come in with the feeling that we are partners and that if we work together, our child will do great, the teacher is going to be more than happy to listen to our ideas. So when it comes to the rules of the classroom, we need two things. Number one, we need the teacher to be rewarding our child every time the child follows the rule. Now, I'm not talking about the child getting a treat. I'm talking about the child getting a compliment. When your child follows the rule, ask the teacher to catch your child following that rule and make a big scene about it. Now, often teachers will say, 1 second, I have to compliment your child every time your child's following the rule. What about the rest of the class? And I say, go for it. You go ahead and compliment every single child when they follow the rule. And guess what happens? The students will stop testing you and they will want to follow the rule. It's a great strategy for any teacher in the classroom. Number two, when my child breaks the rule, I want there to be a consequence. When a teacher calls me and says, Mrs. Gimpel, your child has broken the rule in the classroom, the first thing I want to know is, what did you do to discipline my child? I'm not in the classroom. And when I discipline my child 5 hours later when she comes home from school, it's completely useless. The punishment has to follow the crime. So when your child's teacher sets a rule in the classroom, she needs to be prepared to follow through with a punishment if necessary. Something small, like cleaning up the classroom, staying back from recess for 2 minutes and not a second more, or doing an extra assignment. But this has to be immediate in order for my child to know that's my boundary and I don't go past that. If she rewards by giving a compliment when my child follows the rule, and then she gives a punishment when my child does not follow the rule, within a week or two, my really smart kid and yours is going to get it. The other thing we worry about is the social aspect of school. What I highly recommend, and I've done for many years, is make play dates with the kids that are going to be in my child's class before the school year begins. Those play dates have to be crafted carefully. Make sure that your child is emotionally prepared to share toys, emotionally prepared to go from one activity to another, and make sure you're present to help your child move from one activity to the next. We want to add to this well-chosen after-school activities. Our children need to move. That stimulates the dopamine in their head. The more exercise our children do, the better off they're going to be. If you can possibly walk with your child to school, that would be remarkable. If your child could bike to school, even better. If those two are not possible, you want your child in afternoon sports, because children who exercise and do sports are calmer and much more able to handle classroom situations than children who are couch potatoes and on their screens. In addition to that, we also want to make a plan with our child to downgrade the amount of hours that they're going to be on screens in the afternoon. Not more than an hour per day. Your child needs to know that so that there are no fights in the afternoon. And you set the time at which they can do it, and it always has to be after the child has done what's expected. Either that's chores, or that's homework, or that's bathing, but not too close to when your child goes to bed. And if we are using screens in the home in the afternoon, please don't have your children using a handheld screen, and please try to avoid allowing your child to do gaming. Instead, we want the children to be sitting on a screen together if possible as a social experience, as well as the screen being far away from the child's face. And finally, listen up, moms and dads. You have an awesome kid. Your kid is capable of learning. Your kid loves to learn. The classroom may not be your child's ideal learning spot. So try to enhance your child's learning by being outdoors as much as possible, going out on hikes, going to the park. So what you want to do throughout the school year is find one area where your child shines and nurture that area. It could be music or sports or art or hiking, whatever it is. Nurture that and make sure that your child knows that you are proud of him or her no matter what. And what you're looking for here is effort, not the grades at the end. You want to see that your child is willing and able to work hard. There's so much more to talk about on this topic. Please share this video with your friends who are sending their child to school this year and are also feeling a little bit concerned about it. And make sure to check up Chapter 9 in Hyperhealing. Lots of luck to you. Have an amazingly successful school year.